when the shadows creep. Timmy Fylth is joining while Cryptid sleep. Sasquatch dancing from the solid skies. Mothman's vanishes with glowing eyes. History Fylth and Cryptid cartoons. Space out radio blasting past the moon. Dogman howls, aliens grin. Buoys block as the weird begins. Charles legends that we love, from swampy lands to stars above. Rushes fades, the crowd leans in. Every stroke lets the fun begin. So buckle up, touch truth news. Dirty film and cryptic cartoons. Space out radio, we starting for you.
Hello, creeps and cryptids. Let me make sure my microphone's on this time, unlike last time. Welcome to another episode of Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Fylth and Cats in Fox Vegas. Except there's actually no cats here at the moment, but they'll probably be by shortly. I'm here every Saturday, pending alien abduction or if I get beat up by Bigfoot, to draw cartoons. And during the week, we have Dave Scott with his handsome beard, Monday to Friday, and Grant's still dealing with small humanoids, so I'm not sure about the Max report for the time being. However, on Fridays, you can also check out Lee Strauss with his Element 115. All right, so today I'm working on. Well, I have to preface this because this is the one I did the other. This is the drawing I did the other night. Look at that blurriness. Oh, there we go. With the lovely Varla Ventura on the show, and this is a short little comic I'm making of the gnome and the goblin attempting to steal Bigfoot's jar of quarters. So it's going to be maybe about 3 or 4 panels, and this thing is all crooked. There we go. All right. Shall we begin? Yes. All right. There we go. It's almost Valentine's Day, so I got a whole bunch of Valentine's Day cards that I'm going to be sending out to a bunch of people if they're interested in a Valentine's card or two. Just shoot me email, the usual fylth@fylthy.com, and I will either send you a physical one or just a copy of the digital one, and you can print it out if you'd like on fancy cardboard or cardstock or whatever. But yes, I got a couple of them I'm going to hand out to some people at the pub again today, except this time I'm not buying candy. That was way too much effort.
Yep.
But that's all right. I would send candy in the mail, but they generally frown upon that. I used to, every once in a while, I used to send my pal Nicole Sackich a whole bunch of ketchup chips and everything because they don't have ketchup chips in the States, apparently. Which is absolute blasphemy, in my opinion, but what are you going to do? So here we have. Yes, they don't. And apparently, Sackich really liked those. He said they'd be good on nachos if you crushed them up. Which I'll have to have a try on that one day. And you know what I think? You know, as I think about it, I didn't get any of those nachos on Saturday. Totally forgot about them.
Yep.
But I did have some candy, which was nice. And some crisps. British crisps.
The cake was delicious.
Was
I
it?
think I ate most of it because they just left whatever was left over at the house. I'm just like, this is good cake. I'm gonna be fat by the end of this.
I told the missus, I was like, you missed out on cake. She's like, just get me an ice cream cake. I was like, all right. But no ice cream cake today. Peanut butter parfait afterwards for Mrs. Fylth. That's also part of the ritual. There's like 3 things for Shirley in life: death and taxes and chicken wings on Saturdays with peanut butter parfait afterwards. All right, so we have the gnome here pestering Mr. Bigfoot. Their plan is to acquire his. They're going to play a round of Dragon Hunter, Ghost Hunter, and when the gnome has Bigfoot distracted, the goblin's going to scoop the coins and make a run for it. And oh, we have a cat. Is it orange?
Nope.
There you go, buddy. we have a gremlin. Oh, I forgot to say hi to everybody. So yes, hi Kitty Cattywhack, and Undead Jed, and Ossiange, and Paula Faust, and Baked Beano. I say it right, and Dave says it wrong. That's all right. We'll forgive him because he also says things like foyer incorrectly. And he likes Nanaimo bars. Disgusting. Of course, there's already cat fuzz in here. And I cleaned all my paints out the other day, but it didn't seem to do anything. I'm convinced the cats just generally probably sleep right on top of my stuff. There's his brushes. We'll just pile on top of them. Oh, look. There's some other stuff. Pile on top of it. Damn cats. Alrighty. So I developed the spacebar originally as an idea with a friend of mine, little Timmy Senor, and we were actually going to try to put something together to see if we could pitch a TV show or like a series to Netflix or something. But life gets in the way of everything sometimes, and sometimes nothing works out. So I just started running with it, and then I developed a bunch of characters, and I went, hey, you know what? It's a robotic dinosaur going crazy outside. So I went with it, and I figured, you know what? This would be a perfect addition to my world of cartoons that I draw all my characters and everything in. Because, why wouldn't the cryptids and everything go to a space bar of some sort? And I already drew a couple cartoons of Carl Stanton and Alan trying to make a couple bucks out of it. And I did one short comic. And I have another comic in the works as well, which has a fairly gruesome ending. Not violent or anything, but just gruesome because of what happens. But I guess we'll just have to wait till that's all done to see it. So I developed this space bar and everything. It's a good place to put the characters, and it has a place I can also introduce other characters, which works out good because any place where you can add your characters and bring new ones in to a familiar setting, it works out well. And I've actually thought about drawing the floor layout for the place because I kind of have it set in my head in a certain way. Excuse me. Set my head in a certain way, and it's kind of a combination of like 3 different bars that I used to go to, and little pubs. One was the Rusty Gull in North Vancouver, which was I always joked that it was the number 1 place to pick up a cougar in North Vancouver, and not the cat type either. There's a funny story about the Rusty Gull. It used to be it was First in St. Andrews on the North Shore, and the patio faced south. Excuse me. Hold on. I got to have some tea here because my throat hole's drying up on me. What am I having today? Some T&T brand oolong. There he goes. He doesn't know what he's doing. Anyway, Rusty Gull. So they used to have a patio at the back, and it faced south to actual Vancouver, main Vancouver itself. And they eventually decided they were going to build a huge apartment building across from it, thus ruining most of the view. And everyone was kind of grumpy about it. However, about 2 years after it was built, one of the people that rented the suites or bought them or whatever, it was this lady that used to do naked yoga. And she knew she was pretty cute because she never closed her window, and you could always tell when she was doing yoga because everybody was on one side of the patio. Kind of comical. But they used to make a really good chicken and prawn penne there, which was tasty. And then the original owner sold it and retired, and then some stupid hipsters bought it, and they turned it to a stupid hipster place with like $27 burgers. So, and they got rid of all the ye old-timey pub style of everything, and it just it's not the same anymore. My cousin used to work there, and he used to make super hot sauce too. We used to call it the John Wilkes Booth hot sauce because it sneaks up behind you and blows your brains out. He used to actually put it on the pizza too for me. Michael, if you're listening, thanks for all those delicious hot wings. What were you gonna say? Oh, Fox is being crushed by the gargoyle. Yeah, he doesn't understand what personal space is.
Well, he understands. He just doesn't care.
Yeah, yes. He's cat too, so I think it would be the orange guy as goofy as possible, but it's my handsome gargoyle. Funny thing about the gargoyle is whenever I have a shower, he's got to stick his head in the shower, and I have to soak the bottom end of him because, well, he's weird and that's what he likes. So pretty much every time I have a shower and I get out, by the time I'm done, he's all soggy. And occasionally he will jump into the shower, which is weird for a cat because normally cats don't, unless they live in like Turkey or something. Generally, they don't like water. But in the summertime, he also likes to run through the sprinkler or just sit in it as it soaks him up. And then he comes in the house, and then I hear Mrs. Fylth yelling at him because he's piled on her and he's soaking wet. And, well, no personal space cared about. Alrighty. But anyways, that was the Rusty Gull story and a story about the cat. And this television show that's on here is Starborn Secrets. Every Monday at 10 o'clock. It's another cat fuzz. It's another show I was thinking about because, you know, if you have a world full of characters and everything, obviously there's going to be some TV and junk. Yes. Hit the subscribe button and smash that like button with a steel chair like you're Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I figured, you know, we need like an X-Files type show. So I went with Starborn Secrets, and it has two characters that are, well, slightly ripped off of Moldy and Scalder. And I got a couple pictures of the characters. I just like trolled through the internet to find some actors and stuff that would look good for it. And haven't got too far in it, but they basically investigate weird cryptid things, not so much just UFOs and aliens, but on the first episode that I kind of have written down, they go and investigate a chupacabra attacks that were at first they thought it was cattle mutilations, but then it turns out that it's a chupacabra and it's a lizard. It's none of that weird dog chupacabra stuff, because I don't know how chupacabra went from being like a lizard type creature to a dog.
Interspecies breeding.
Well, there's none of that in my world. I have the drawing of him. Actually, no, it's piled away in a pile of paper. But it's it's one of my. I like drawing that chupacabra because he's really simple, and I got to use my nice slime green. Big Bino says he's been arting his old sneakers with markers.
I would like to see that.
You know what? How they should have a thing where people can share like a picture or something on YouTube. Because that's where I mostly follow the shows, on YouTube. Or
Cat, you know if I move my arm, you're gonna fall right off of me, right?
there will be no moving of the arms today, Fox.
Yeah, apparently.
Right. I need my orange in color here. Hello, Dr. Bob's Nightmare. I told Dave to stop by, so he might. Well, Undead Jed gave it a stone cold stunner. I told Dave to stop by last night because he phoned me and told me that I got really nice chest hair and all that
Ow!
stuff. What's he doing now?
I'm trying to rip my fingers apart.
Well, luckily you got 10.
And now he's glaring at me like it's my fault.
Well, I would never do anything like that. It's like when you got like the, you know, ogres or something, or a gorilla. They don't know their own strength. It's like my buddy Ray, the human forklift. Or my pal Bob from Nebraska. On my wedding, he came down, and I just basically brought Bob down to help with the chairs and everything. But everybody's putting one single chair together, and he just grabs like 6, picks up a stack of like 20 chairs and hauls it over. It's like, all right, you don't need any help there, Bob. I'm gonna go have a double whiskey. One thing about weddings is that your own wedding, you got to kind of hang out with everybody. You can't just like sit around and slug wobblies. Well, you probably can, but it's mostly like, hi, how are you? Haven't seen you in like 20 years. How's it going? Hi, grandma. Hi, other grandma. Stuff like that. So it's a lot more fun to go to other people's weddings. Yeah. You don't have to do any cleanup. You just get to eat food and leave. Excuse me. For the most part.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that gargoyle, I tell you. There we go. Hello, Undead Jed. Oh, wait, I already said hi to you. Well, hello again, Undead Jed. I need my little mini brush. It's almost, I know I say this every week, but it's almost time to get some new brushes because these ones they've had the biscuit, let's say. That's old people term for it's done. No longer kaput.
Other than my grandfather, you're the only other person who's ever said that.
Well, I found out I'm the old guy at work because I mentioned Earthworm Jim and the young kids didn't know what the heck that was. So I guess I'm the old guy now. We had 3 new employees at work this week and I had to train them. They didn't get any of my references to all these old movies and everything. And yeah. So I went home and I took my Ovaltine before I went to bed. Right, here's my little gnome. Usually the gnome is out doing things like, tying shoelaces together, or switching off the plumbing in somebody's house, stuff like that. Gnome type things. Baked Beano recommends looking at Jose's UFO art. Yes. Jose. Speaking of Jose, no way, Jose. They let 4 unanswered goals in last Thursday. Suckers. But the Sharks are turning out to be a good team with that Macklin Celebrini guy. He's pretty good. He'll be on Team Canada this year, if I remember correctly. Not Evan Bouchard, the best defenseman in the entire league. You wouldn't want to do that, but that's what happens when the guy running the show is the owner of the St. Louis Blues, and he wants to have all his guys there. But what have they done all year? They got Drew Doughty. No doubty about it. They got Drew Doughty, and he's done nothing all year. But he's old, so we'll let it slide. It's one thing that I always chuckled about. Doughty and Cassian always like to beat up the Kachuk brothers.
Well, I mean,
Pretty punchable.
one of them especially.
Alrighty. Get this little speech balloon box here all done up. Hope everyone's having a wonderful weekend anyways. I got all the nerds coming over for some dice rolling later. And
I believe there will be some night crawlers plushified later.
ooh. Let's have a look at wonderful Lady Nightcrawler. Oh yeah. There was a lot of swearing that went into this.
Yep. Mostly the dress.
That's Fox's handiwork, by the way, everyone. Well, hopefully when we go hang out with Barbara, you get to win like $1 billion on the scratchy ticket so that you can just stay home and make plushies all day.
I wish.
And then you can employ me to work the sewing machine.
Well, at least you and Corey were smart enough to listen to me when I said, dial it back a bit, or else you're both going to be chained to sewing machines.
Here, come sit down and talk with me at this table. All right. Put this on. What is it? Just put it on. Oh, it appears to be handcuffs. Now I'm chained to this table.
Oh.
Here's an instruction manual on how to use the sewing machine.
God's help whichever one of you gets stuck with the bath. Because that's not an electronic machine. That's like you have to move the rocking pedal back and forth to operate the pulley and belt system to make the machine work.
Well, if it's not a computer, I could probably work it pretty well.
All right, so then you get the bath.
Great. Big Beano said, Dungeons and Donuts. I don't think there would be any donuts, but there'll definitely be some whiskey. One sec here. Excuse me. There will be some whiskey. And actually, no, I think Mike has some wine that he's bringing because his wife works for the ALGC or whatever.
Speaking of whiskeys.
Oh, hello, Grouch.
Hi.
Hi, Grumpy. Came out from her grumpy whiskey hole. That grumpy old cat, I tell you. Now we just need a gremlin to show up.
He was in the window.
Yeah, but you gotta have 3 in a row. It's like they're doing rotating pettings on you.
They did. You just missed the gremlin's shift.
Oh. I was a little bit preoccupied drawing
And he
cartoons.
camouflages with the red and yellow curtain in the sun, so.
Little Roman cat. Speaking of Roman cats, people in the complex I live in, they were complaining about cats or whatever, and so I wanted to get a picture of the Pawn Stars guy and be like, best I could. They're like, there's too many roaming cats around here, all this stuff. So I wanted to get a picture of the Pawn Star guy, saying best I can do is Roman cats, and then draw a picture of the cats dressed up like little Roman soldiers. And then I was going to print out, I think there's like 74 units or something. I was going to print out 74 pictures and then put them in everyone's mailbox. And Miss Phil's like, please don't do that. She's like, that's pretty petty. I'm like, yes. So I didn't do it anyways because she's pretty much right 99% of the time. So it's the smart thing to listen to her. Okie dokie. Smoky. Get this TV all colored up. And then I gotta do the gnome's hair. His little red hair. Spindly red hair. Leave the money on the fridge. You know what, Baked Beano, one time when I worked in a maintenance place or an old folks home, I did maintenance and general every janitor cleanup maintenance-y thing. We were moving someone out and their family came in. We just said, take whatever you guys need and anything you guys don't want, we'll just bring to the eco station or whatever. So they left everything that was on top of the fridge and we went and cleaned out everything on top of the fridge. We found a little tin container with a whole bunch of change and some fivers, and I think there was a couple tens in there, but yeah, it was something about like $40 of some sort. So my dad and I went and bought some beer after work that day. That was free. It tasted way better. And I remember specifically that day because it was really warm outside too. And standing in front of his house and basically looked like an episode of King of the Hill. Everyone's standing there slugging beers. That was when he also had a whole bunch of deep freezes outside that he had acquired from wherever he got them. He's the recycle king for a reason. And it was just it was the most ghetto looking thing. It's just a bunch of guys standing outside drinking beer with a bunch of plugged in deep freezes, which he ended up selling anyways. He's really good at that stuff. All right, enough of that King of the Hill beer talk. I need there we go. Gotta color that beer mug in here, and then one for the gnome too. There we go. And most importantly, the foam. I don't know why the foam is yellow, but it just looks proper that way. It's the stereotypical foam that's in every cartoon or movie or anything. It's a shame they don't actually get to like, well, you know, maybe they do in some movies just actually pour beer for the actors and they get all like loaded up or whatever. I'm not sure how things work at a movie set. I was on a music video set the one time. That was cool. Ooh, speaking of the big shiny balls thing, they've recorded a couple songs now.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's definitely going to go forward. And I seen a picture of the one band. I go, oh, geez, I'll have to cartoonify those people. Space Captain's like, yep, do it. So I got to go ahead for that, which I'm going to get in touch with that band and then send them a copy as well, because that's the nice thing to do. So in Edmonton, the big shiny balls thing in Edmonton, we're famous for squandering money on goofy things. And one of the things that the city council squandered their money on was a stack of big shiny balls. You can even type it into the internet. Just type in Edmonton shiny balls.
Or Talus Dome.
Yeah, it's called the
apparently called.
Yeah, it's called the Talus Dome. You might want to just put Talus Dome because if you put like big shiny balls, you might find some.
Regret it.
Yeah, delete that internet history right then and there. So, anyways, they did that, and my friend He's a studio. I did the logo for, which is kind of cool. Voodoo Architect Music Studio is what it's called. Anyways, he decided that he was going to put together a compilation of music, all flavors of bands from Edmonton, to just showcase Edmonton bands. And he went with Big Shiny Balls, which is a play on America Has Much Music, or MTV in Canada Has Much Music. They're both, I think, defunct now. I don't think they actually exist.
Or they just don't play music anymore at all. It's all just like crappy reality shows.
Yeah. And so, anyways, and Much Music used to do a thing called Big Shiny Tunes, and it was a sampler of different bands and all that stuff. So, anyways, he's going to do one called Big Shiny Balls, and it's going to be, hello, boy. And it's going to be showcasing all the wonderful bands in Edmonton, because we got a lot of good bands here. Just kind of, hello, mister. That gargoyle, I tell you. We get a lot of good music. Edmonton's got a really good heavy metal scene, which is highly underrated for the most part. I just gotta, there we go.
You again.
He's like, me. So anyways, I'm going to be the guy drawing a bunch of cartoons and junk for it. And I guess there's going to be a limited press of 1,000 vinyls. And if all else works out good, he's going to try to see if we can get a show at the Starlight Room, which is a fairly fancy venue in a really old building in Edmonton. Despite Edmonton being fairly high-techy, sort of, we got a lot of really old buildings, and the Starlight Room is in one of those old buildings. That's where I seen Cannibal Corpse for the first time, and I thought we were going to collapse right into the Victory Lounge at the mosh pit. That was an interesting day. It was a super hot summer. I believe it was July 2004 or something like that. Incredibly hot day. Everybody was hitting the mosh pit. Was just gruesome because you're just bouncing and sliding off all these like hairy, greasy metalhead guys, and yeah, good times. That was the first like heavy metal concert I ever went to. And before the show even started, before the first band even went on, I went down to the washroom. You have to go down a bunch of stairs into this dungeon basement type thing, and they have these urinals that go from the top, and they're built into the wall, and they go right to the floor. And well, there was a guy passed out in them. Like, first band hadn't even like taken the stage yet. This guy was already tuckered out for the night. So right then and there, I went, well, this is going to be interesting. And it was. It was a really good show. My ears were pretty mangled for a couple days after that. All right. I have to use all 7 brain cells to write this down here. So give me a second, folks. I gotta stick my tongue out just the right angle for this. Starborn Secrets. There we are. And that's on at 10 p.m. Mondays. There we go. Excellent. And I was smart today, and I pre-printed off a whole bunch of my Valentine's cards so I can just cut them up and hand them out to everybody. I got to go to stop at the dollar store quick anyways. I have to get some cat snacks. I'm getting low on cat snacks. It's very important. What's he doing?
Nothing. I've just been cat fuzzed.
Oh.
In my eyes and in my nose.
Yeah, it tends to happen.
Because he has no regard for personal space.
Yeah, it's all fine and dandy when like dogs and cats just like cram their face into your like chest and crotch and everything. But you know, if you were to go do that to somebody, well,
you'd probably get arrested.
You'd probably get a punch in the face first before you get arrested.
Or it might backfire on you, and the person that you do it to is totally into it, and then you're like, oh, well.
Well, I guess I better Boy.
If you get zapped, it's your own bloody fault.
I'm going to pet him right in the belly.
It's a trap.
Well, I didn't get killed. The Australian Open Tennis. Oh, yes. Actually, the last couple weeks, I've been watching I think it was 1993, but it was Tina Turner I think it was a cricket tournament. No, it was rugby. And she did Simply the Best. I've been watching that. It was a good music video. I always liked Tina Turner. I watched that a couple times, and that was pretty cool. Apparently, Australians are notoriously difficult to please with their music and everything, and she did a really good job. But, whoops. Oh, hey, I didn't smudge. But, yes. Sometimes live music is better than the actual recorded version. Much like, I believe it was in Germany, and Neil Young played Like a Hurricane, and that was a really good song, and his tie kept falling down, and he kept having to readjust it. He played right through the solo. It was awesome. I can't find that video anymore. It seems to have disappeared off the internet, which is a shame. Someone probably complained about copyrights or something, and the
Nicole Sakic says, "Hello, Von Joyce."
hello, Sakic. Now I'm all flustered. Nicole, I will mail you some Valentine's cards on Monday. You can hand them out to your friends at work. Or keep them for yourself. I would keep them for yourself. All right, here we go. Almost done the most boring part of it, all the printing. I need to get like one of those robots to do all the printing for me. Nah, I couldn't do that actually. It would take the soul out of it all. Just maybe get a robot to make me tea every once in a while. That'll work out pretty good.
Nothing from the Terminator franchise.
No. Yes, that's correct, Undead Jed. Those are the lyrics. That's also my favorite Neil Young song. I think I mentioned that though. I don't even actually own any Neil Young albums, actually, now that I think about it. But I do have the Braveheart soundtrack, which is the most random thing I could think of at the time. Alrighty, and now we're drawing Bigfoot's jar of coins, which in the story will be absconded by the gnome and the goblin. And well, I can't tell you the outcome because then you wouldn't come back and watch me draw more cartoons. So, and these are American quarters, so it's like $8 Canadian per quarter in here. There we go. Yes, jars of coins. Very important. Most people probably don't even remember going to the arcades anymore with coins. I remember my dad used to come pick me up every once in a while. And, son, we're going to the arcade. He'd have like $200 worth of quarters. And, well, it's not like I got good at any of the games. I've been notoriously terrible at video games my entire life. Which is why I try to stick to cartoons. I'm good at that. And the only time one time there's a co-op by my house. And I went there one day and I noticed that somebody had a high score. And I was like, oh, who's this jerk with the high score? So I crushed that high score. And when I finally ended up losing, it turned out I had the high score. So I was only in competition with myself, which is always nice. That's like the whole thing about life anyways. You're really only in competition with yourself. You shouldn't measure yourself by other people. I know it can be difficult, but it's probably better for your health that you do that anyways. Bigfoot sitting there, he's gonna get some little bubbles coming off of there to show that that's potent beers. He's drinking like a Red Horse or something, one of those like Filipino beers. It's like 9%. I wish I had a whiskey. I will have a whiskey soon enough. I'll have a whiskey for you, Sakic. And a ciggy. I actually had a camel the other day. My pal at work, his brother, rather, my first day with my English language. He travels around and he always stops by and brings cigarettes from wherever he goes. So I had a camel. I was like, ooh, this reminds me of my pal Nicole. We were in Vegas. Completely lived off whiskey and cigarettes for like 2 days in a row. I think I had one slice of pizza the entire time. Good times, good times. right. Should have little bar stools too. Very important. Sasquatch sitting on his bar stool where he always sits. He's one of those guys that probably has his name on the wall or on the table there. It says like Bigfoot. He's got a little stamp on it or something. Kind of like me. You go to the local watering hole and oh, what's this? A pile of cartoons on the wall. A couple years back, because I just hand out art cards to random people, or I just leave them all over the place. But a couple years ago, I was at Westmount in Edmonton, and there used to be a liquor store there, and I stopped there to grab some road beers. I was riding my bike home, breaking the law. And anyway, I was standing there looking, and behind the counter, there was a Sasquatch card. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that guy. That's me. I made that. And so I asked the guy how long it had been sitting there, and he's like, well, I've been here like 4 years, so it's been here at least 4 years. So apparently, at some point in time, someone found one of my art cards that worked there and took that. And I remember that specific Bigfoot drawing too, because it was the double-fisted Bigfoot. He had two cans of beers in his hand. Good times. And I had a lady from the Northwest Territories actually message me once. She goes, hey, I found this artwork on White Avenue at the bus stop. Excuse me. I have to get a swig here. She goes, can I paint it? I go, yep. So apparently, I have artwork in the Northwest Territories as well. Hello, Tyler420. That means it's 20 after 4. All right. Now we got to draw up this pestering little gnome here. He's a jerk. He lost he technically won a poker match against the man in black, but his prize wasn't exactly what he thought it was. But that's going to be in the short comic that I'm working on, which I finally got all the background painting done, and I forgot about how much of a pain in the arse doing 18 pages of background stuff is, but such is life. And well, I took on the challenge, and nobody likes a quitter. Except me. I quit a lot of things in life, but that's all right. Most notably, art school. Now look at me. Published author. Still handsome. All right. Look at this little gnome. He's just a devious jerk, actually, is what he is. You know what? He probably leaves the toilet seat up. Matter of fact, I guarantee he does that. Shuts off the plumbing when he leaves the bar, too. That's what I used to do when I went to New City Suburbs. Did you ever go to Suburbs?
No.
I didn't miss much. It was really cliquey. I was all excited. I'm like, hey, I'm old enough to go to the goth club. I get there and everyone's like, why are you dressed like that? It's like, is there a style I'm supposed to be dressed as? Anyways, they were all jerks, so I used to turn the plumbing off before I left there all the time. Flush the toilet, then turn the plumbing off so it wouldn't fill up. And then everyone go in there for a great big drunk pee, and then, well, it doesn't work. And they're going to try to flush it 2 or 3 times and walk away. And then the next person's going to come in, and then, yeah, that's what you get for being a jerk to somebody who's, why would you be mean to somebody that's come into your establishment to give you their money? You did see a lot of good bands there. Alrighty.
Baked Beano and Walter have paid for cat snacks today.
Oh, thanks, Baked Beano and Walter Kochabinski. I think they're apart all across the globe nowadays. Those damn gnomes. Yeah, Sackett, you better watch out. Those gnomes will tie your shoelaces together. And you'll be in a rush in the morning to go to work, and you'll trip over yourself. But yes, thank you, Walter and Baked Beano. I'll make sure I get snacks for the cats since I'm going to the dollars. Sorry.
So you just put something that looks like Bigfoot's jar of coins in the garden with like a box and a stick, and you just trap the gnome, and then he becomes a garden gnome. After you've cemented it in place,
You should write that down for me.
Okay.
Or remember it, because I'm not going to remember it.
Remember it? Yeah, right.
There's the challenge for today. Will we remember this at all? Probably not.
I have severe craft.
Thank you,
disorder.
Paula. It's not quite done yet. Sakich the Gnome Slayer. For memory of Blob. Yes, I missed my Blob. Look at this. Science Blob. I'm not going to cry. I missed that cat. I was thinking about Blob the other day, too. She was the best. I think about her every day. Little bit of dust flew through the window here and got my eyeball. How about that? Fancy that. There's a interesting. Speaking of gnome type creatures, Nicole, there's a creature called I guess it would be like a fairy of some sort, or a gnome or goblin, but it's called the Vodnik, and I believe it's Slovakian. Basically, what it is, it's a green-looking man who has, I believe he has red shoes and he has long coattails, and one of the coattails, stupid little hats. Yeah. Anyways, before I forget here, one of his coattails is wet and one of them is dry, and he's one of those creatures that if you get too close to the water, he will take you into the water, and he keeps your soul in little jars in his house underwater. And that's why sometimes when you're near like a standing pool of water and a little bubble comes up, that's a soul that escaped from the Vodnik out of one of his jars. And he can be helpful. If you go fishing, you're supposed to take some tobacco and you put a pinch of tobacco into the water and you say, I've given you some tobacco, Vodnik, now give me a fish. Now, I haven't gone fishing with any slabs or anything like that, but next time I go fishing, I'll make sure to do that, and I'll see if I get a fish or not. And then I will report back with my findings, everyone. Ooh, thank you. Stupid little hats. Stupid little gnome hats. Draw a stupid little gnome hat. This one's fuzzy. There we go. All right. Almost done all the inking here, and then I can go back and deal in the rest of the fine color details. That's very important. I got my spider in there, a little homage to Robert Munch. He used to always put spiders in his artwork. I believe he was Canadian as well. Those Canadians are so crafty. Alrighty, let's get this going here. Need that. Let's gotta fill this in. A little bit more in the Bigfoot as well. Tighten up his colors so he looks nice, and it has to be to my exemplary. Oops, that's not good. We're dying on ink here, everybody. Has to be to my strict drawing specifications. There we go. All right. And we're almost done here, folks. I'd just like to say thanks for everyone to come by, and special thank you to Nicole Sakich, my muse. And my fancy brown. I'll be here next Saturday as well, and probably during the week with Dave as well. Although I think in a couple of days Dave's going to, or I think in a couple of days, I think a week or so, he's going to Bigfoot Con or something in Nebraska. And I do believe I'm going to have to move around a bunch of guests, unfortunately, which I always feel bad for doing because, you know, I'm supposed to have all this stuff all together and working fine and dandy, but such is the booking universe and schedules and everything. And also I'm relatively busy at work and I have a goldfish brain, so I don't remember a lot of this stuff sometimes. Gotta slop the water on here. It's the easiest way to get this going. Walter Kachubinski, Filthy. I will do the same. A pinch of tobacco when I go fly fishing this April. Yes. Fly fishing. If you live closer to me, Walter, you can come to my work and buy a whole bunch of fly fishing stuff so I could have space for other things. And I'd also try to, sell you a kayak or 3. And you are correct, Nicole, about the Vodnik. I learned about that from, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember those old TV VHS games that you would talk to like the gatekeeper or whatever. But they came with a little book and it had a bunch of Slovakian stories and historical bits to it. And that's what was in there. And I've always kind of remembered that because it was just so odd that, you know, it mentioned the still water and then, you know, the bubbles coming up. And I always thought about that as a kid. I'm like, how did the bubbles come up out of nowhere? Well, apparently it's a soul sneaking away. So make sure you don't go too close to the water there, kids, or the Vodnik will get you. It's just like people saying, like, hey, follow the breadcrumbs. That's probably not a very smart thing to do.
Yeah, it leads you to a cannibalistic witch.
Well, hey, come on. Witches got to eat too.
Yes, but that is my biggest thing with like the whole like conspiracy world and all that is how often people say, "Oh, just follow the breadcrumbs." It's like, have you read Hansel and Gretel? Like, actually, have you read that story? Like, following the stones and whatever else that was not edible by forest animals. Yes, that's what led them back to their parents' house the first 2 times. It was following breadcrumbs, which were very sporadic because half of them got eaten, that led them to a cannibalistic witch who wanted to put one in an oven. So yeah, follow the breadcrumbs. See how well that turns out for you. Let me know and go read your fairy tales again.
What if they never come back and you won't be able to tell you their story?
Well, then that just proves my point.
That's like all those things that naked old man with the pot belly and green beard is how he often approaches people. Well, normally, Nicole, I don't really talk to very many naked old men with pot belly and green beard. You know what? I know some people that could dress up as that. This goes against everything, but hey, come over to my house. We'll have a party. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I'm going to blame Nicole for that one.
Was derailed by a naked old man with pot belly and green beard.
Yeah, how was your weekend there, Filthy? Well, it's all good until the naked old man with the green beard and pot belly showed up.
That's after I followed the breadcrumbs.
Yeah. After following the breadcrumbs, I encountered a naked old man with a pot belly and a beard. Jeez, yep. I'll have to redo my Vodnik because my original Vodnik cartoon was a little less pot bellied than that. I'll take a picture of that book that I got it from, Nick, and I'll send it to you. It's actually kind of cool. There were some other interesting things in there, like I think there was something about a skull with like ruby eyes or something. That might just be something else in the old memory bank that's flooding through. Okay. I'm missing something in here. I know it. Avert your eyes, children. I'm using an actual pen to darken up the beer mug. Ugh, the beer mug. Great. That's just even better English than previously. Yeah, that's why you don't get him angry. You have to give him some tobacco so that he doesn't get grumpy pants with you. There we go. All right. Need my gray to finish up the television set. Very important. And then on Monday, they'll be watching Starborn Secrets. I haven't even figured out the name for those characters yet, but I do have sort of a story written for them. That's the problem when you have a creative brain and then something just starts working. You're like, ooh, let me write this down. And then you start writing things down and then you just kind of get a little bit ahead of yourself. But that's what happens. Okie dokie. Excuse me. My gnome boy. Yeah, there we go. This is a very delicate process right here, everyone. Oops. There we are. Only grandmasters such as myself can work the brush this way. That's just the way it goes. I make the rules. There we are. Great. There's about 10,000 drawings I got now.
Just 3.
All right. I need a dry brush. Well, that ain't no good now, is it there, Jim? Well, I might have to. I'll have to come back to that later. That's all right, though. That's the beauty of watercolor. Yeah, I'll have to come back to that. That's all right. Not much you can do about it. Pack of camels. Wish I had a camel right now. Let's push my luck here a little bit, shall we? Yes, there we go. All right. I'm gonna leave that there so I don't push my luck any further, because usually I've only got bad luck. Let's cat fuzz. Let's sign this bad boy here and then give my cats some snacks. I got a very limited amount of cat snacks left. And, well, thanks to our wonderful super chatters here, I'll be able to go and get some snacks for them. I believe it is the 31st today. 31 days already into the new year, and I've got 1 million cartoons already done. What do they call this? The Heist, Part 2. And of course, you have to put it in Roman numerals. There we are. Oops, we gotta put the old website in there. Fylthy.com. So yes. Go to Fylthy.com and go to Amazon and get yourself a copy of my second book, Cryptid Cartoons Volume 2. It doesn't come with any glare. Let's look at that. We got a couple good drawings in here. Actually, there's a drawing of Nicole in here as well. Let me go find it. There it is. There she is on the beach with Carl getting his new swimming boots tested. And well, yeah, he's kind of wearing a thong. That's what Carl does. But yeah, there's Sakic sitting at the beach with her strawberry daiquiri, scoffing a ciggy with her spaced out radio hat on. It's fairly accurate. Yep. And there's that octopus that you punched the crap out of too. He's like, I don't want any piece of that. Not happening. There's some other great cartoons. Look at that. There's the Chupacabra pulling out a knife to scrap Dave Scott. Look out, Dave. Chupacabra pulled a shank. Shling. Yes. Let me show you another good drawing in here. This is there it is. There's Dave Scott with a handprint. And there's the dastardly gnome. The Bigfoot in the background as well. What else is interesting? Oh, and everybody should also check out John Russell. He's got the first edition of the Book of the Dead. Yes, you can find this book, Amazon.com. If you lived in Edmonton or closer, I would sign a copy. It's ridiculously stupid to ship these things across the universe. So we also have the Grump Ape. Why is he so grumpy? Well, he's sweaty. He lives in a swamp. He smells bad. Doesn't even lift, bro. And he skips leg day. Look at him. Those little spindly legs. No wonder you'd be grumpy if you were a swamp ape. Gruesome. Oh, and also, this is a good one too. Oh, of course, it's blurry. Phoenix Lights. 1997. Good times. All right, everybody. I appreciate you stopping by and watching me draw and listen to me ramble and listen to my interesting stories.
There might be some night crawlers that need homes next.
Ooh.
Pairs, if the plusification goes well. I'm thinking we'll have like a giveaway pair, not a giveaway pair, a bundle pair, like larger scale, and maybe some little baby pairs to potentially give away.
Yes, there may be some potential night crawlers. Once again, look at that lady night crawler.
For Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's Day. So tune in next week and maybe I'll send out another drawing of some sort. But tune in next week for more cartoons, more me yelling at the cats, and everyone have a wonderful evening. And yes, have a good night, Sackage. I'll talk to you in the future. And thanks everybody for hanging out. Well, I'll see you guys next Saturday. Remain dauntless. Tschüss.